So this is going to be a quick take on an incident that happened a couple days ago between Serme and Asal. And in this incident, Asal turns on the ball and hits Serme with his shot. And Serme is injured and cannot continue. And we're just going to break down what exactly happened and did they get it right? Is it fair? What happened? Ultimately, Serme couldn't continue, so Asal lost the match because it was an opponent contributed injury. So let's take a look here real quick. You can see Serme hits a drop, Asal counters, Serme hits a wide cross court here that's going to go to the back, and that's when Asal hits him there. An accident, was definitely not on purpose, and it ends up hitting his eardrum, and he was taken to the hospital and I think had a perforated eardrum. So let's break down first off why it happened. So you can see here, as soon as Serme hits it, he knows that ball is going. As soon as Asal hasn't volleyed it, he knows that ball is going back wall. It's going side wall into the back wall. Maybe Asal will have to turn and hit either probably a boast or if he has enough space, he could get it straight to the front wall. And what you'll see here is as soon as right here he's looking, he's trying to figure out what's going to happen, and he decides that Asal, at first he thinks, I got to go to the wall, right? Because he thinks Asal's going to be able to hit it down the middle. And so you can see Asal's taking a peek over his shoulder. He's trying to ascertain where Serme is going and where his opening is going to be. You can see Serme right here. His foot is planted there. He's going this direction. And what unfortunately happens is, as you'll see, and I'll pause it again, he immediately actually changes his mind and says, well, I got to go to the middle, because he thinks that Asal is going to hit a boast. And this is where things get interesting. You'll see Asal does not, he took his quick glance. Now he's tracking the ball. This ball is really close to the back wall. I think Asal is one of the only people in the world who could get this ball straight and not actually boast it. So Lucas now sees, he might get that straight, and he's starting to realize that he's in a really tricky spot here. He's starting to go down, and even there, you can see how low that ball is. The vast majority of players would hit a boast, if they had to hit it. Probably he should ask for let. I mean, that's the lesson here. But most people would be able to hit a boast and maybe get a straight drop in, something like that. And he's one of the only people, I think, who could really snap that ball. I mean, just look at his body position there. I mean, that's a pretty unnatural body position to be in, to snap a ball. And yeah, it hits Lucas. And let's take another look from the front angle, front camera angle from here, and you'll see that same thing. He's just cut back to the middle. Asal, as you'll see, he's turning. You can really see how close this ball is to the back wall from this position. And he's able to snap that ball into him there. There's been a little bit of discussion about who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and I think it's a pretty complicated situation. And I think a couple of things that I would bring up are, what happens if, what's the call? I mean, I think the refs got it right, that this was dangerous, and certainly with the rules the way they are, it doesn't happen often that this kind of situation happens, that somebody turns, and it's definitely a situation that people don't, you don't practice this. This happens very rarely in matches. Even in practice, when you're doing something chaotic, you're playing doubles or you're just messing around, and people are not going to be snapping the ball through the middle hard. because you're always kind of a little bit more concerned about safety and um, matches people are looking for every advantage. The fact that Lucas went to the middle, he was looking for that advantage because he thought, if he stays over here on the side, um, he's giving up that easy cross court for the winner. So it is complicated. If Asal had missed him with this shot, let's say that shot had continued on and had gone over his head back here for a winner. What do the referees do then? Do they give Asal a warning and say, hey, that was dangerous, don't hit that next time? Maybe. What happens if he hits him somewhere else? Let's say he hits him in the leg. That probably they give the point to Lucas, I would guess. What happens if Asal turns? What happens if Asal turns at this point, let's say? Let's pause it right here. Let's say Asal turns and Lucas has made it all the way over here and he asks for a let. What's the call then? Lucas is not in his way. And also, what happens if Asal just stops at this point and asks for a let? Is that Asal's point? Is that a stroke? Because Lucas has ended up, directly in his way. I would argue it should be. I don't know what everyone else thinks the call would be, or what the referees would say the call should be. Once you get into these turning situations, I think it's kind of it's sort of a gray area because it happens so infrequently, and safety is a high concern, obviously, as this incident has shown. But yeah, that's my take. I think it's a lot of people are probably Asal has kind of a reputation. He's had some incidents before of big contacts, that kind of thing. He plays through a lot of balls. That you see him more regular than other players playing boasts on his turns and just playing the ball or snapping it past people if they moved over there. So it is definitely a complicated area, and an area where probably the best thing is for him to ask for more lets on those situations. But I would argue that this should be his point if he had stopped. And obviously, unfortunate what happened, and I don't think there was any malice from Asal there. And hopefully, Lucas is back and no permanent damage and back playing squash soon. Thanks.